Hey, Rooted Wings community, welcome back. For those of you who were just watching or listening, if you're listening on a podcast, we had a part one with Nicole, and she is an amazing California attorney who is fighting the good fight. And I wanted to give us the opportunity to help you guys know practically how to resist, how to actually act and behave as a resistance legally and rightly. And I didn't want to cram it into that talk. So that's why we did this part two. So part one is what's at stake. And then part two, which is what we're going to go into now, is how to hold the line and how to actually be the resistance. So for those of you who missed part one, it's already posted and live, but listen to this one first, and then you can go back and listen to part one. I'm going to bring her on now, and then I'm just going to really briefly tell you what is covered in part one so that you can kind of know the framework of where we're at now in part two, which is, look, that's what is at stake. Now, what do we do about it? It's really easy to get overwhelmed and to get frustrated and scared at the big scary monster. And that's what the mainstream media does. That's not what I want to do. And that's not what Nicole wants to do. What we want to do is tell you guys, yes, there are big things at play right now. Yes, there is a lot at stake, but there is hope. And this is how you can push back and how you can be on the right side of history. So I am going to bring her on now. Hey, long time no see.
Here we are.
Oh, thank you so much for coming back on.
This is part two. I'm so glad. I'm glad we're doing it this way. This is better.
It is better. And I actually like that part one gives the whole comprehensive view of what's at play and what's at stake. And now this is going to fill the room with hope. Yeah. And because that's always where I want to leave people, not because I'm an eternal optimist, but because I truly do have hope, and I want to be able to give that. And I know you do too. Yeah. So I want to be able to gift that to people so that we can rise up as a resistance and know that we are doing what is right. Mm-hmm. So just for those of you who missed our part one, it is posted. It will be posted and uploaded on Spotify and YouTube, but it's posted now in Instagram, and then this will be posted as well. For those of you who missed it, what we covered is basically where we're at in California, everything with the mandate system coming down from the top down. So all the way from the current administration to our governor, and then all the way down to cities and all of those things. So we covered all of the mandates. We covered the VAERS data and where we're at with all of that and the concerns of the rapidly increasing numbers. And then we talked about Jacobson v. Massachusetts, which is Nicole's absolute favorite topic.
I'm like yelling at the internet, but
we were texting after this and she's like, I hate that case. But we talked about that, and we talked about why this thing has been manipulated and abused and really doesn't say what you most likely think it says. So we covered that. And then right toward the end of that, we talked about where this is headed. We talked about Israel and Israel's data and what Israel just did yesterday in telling people basically that your little green pass is only good for, it has an expiration date now, unless you get another booster. And then we talked a little bit about what Michael Yeadon, he was Pfizer's, what was his term?
I thought he was the CEO.
He wasn't the CEO. He was, hang on one second. He was the former vice president and chief science officer of Pfizer. So for those of you who haven't looked into Michael Yeadon, he's really worth looking into. Actually, I will post in my bio after this something for y'all to listen to. It's a very long interview by Michael Yeadon that is very eye-opening. We talked about his predictions, where all this is headed to, and his concerns. And this is like a guy that is an expert, and he has incredible concerns as to where this whole passport mentality is heading. Yeah. And then we talked about China, which ultimately kind of is like that far extreme, where it's like, we're not too far away from laying groundwork to getting us to the point of looking a whole heck of a lot like what China has established in their social credit scoring, and how authoritarian their government is, and how they basically control their people. So we talked about all that. We set the stage. We said, this is very overwhelming. It is very real. This is non-conspiratorial. This is real stuff that's happening right now. How do we fight back? And where I want to head to right now, because I think that this is going to be most relatable for people, is we are seeing a lot of stuff happen with our schools.
Yeah.
LA Unified School District, which is where you are, just passed a mandate on all students who are eligible, which would be 12 and up. San Diego Unified School District is getting ready to pass the same thing on September 28th, and it will be a vote. And then I don't know if you know, but Oakland, did you hear that Oakland just passed this yesterday?
Yeah.
The same. So Oakland Unified just passed the same thing. It's the first school up north, the first school district up north to do this. So in light of all that, what can we do now for us in San Diego before this passes, and for you up in LA and for those up in Oakland now that this has passed? What are our rights as parents and the rights of our children? And how can we stand on those rights and demand that those rights be given to us as the resistance? What can we do?
So I think, again, we need to start with the premise that they are actively lying to us in the way that they represent information. And well, I guess that's it. Not only are they actively lying to us, they're intentionally confusing us, because, you know, I'm sure you get the same thing too. When I received, for example, the LAUSD resolution, and I think you and I even were texting about it, saying, is this legal? Everyone asks me, is this legal? And I say no. And then they say, well, how are they doing this? And I say, I don't know. I think people need to understand the law is on your side, and they are using fear-mongering, confusion tactics to, you know, fear-mongering and like these like emergency kind of the moves that they do. Like all of a sudden, 4 weeks into the semester is key. It's like a pivotal fact, and people are already relying on school and going back to school. And now all of a sudden this mandate comes in and you're like, I just got my mask on my kid. Like, what's going on here? So they're lying to you intentionally to confuse you and to scare you into compliance. And the law is on our side.
And I want to interrupt real quick, because I didn't say this before. Nicole is a California attorney. So for those of you who are just now logging in or who didn't watch our first, Nicole knows what she's talking about. She is on the forefront of securing and fighting for our rights in California as an attorney. So when she starts talking legal, she actually knows what she's talking about.
Yeah. And we're suing the LA Unified School District. We are preparing our complaint. And I already wrote a cease and desist letter. It's actually on my website, and it's on Children's Health Defense website. But actually a good thing to mention just quickly as we go into these steps, my website, Facts, Law, Truth, Justice, which is my handle, has a resources page. I have spent so much time getting this very secure website going with only the best information, really filtered, and then I've rewritten it. So it has templates, it has step-by-step guides, as you guys were asking about what to do. It has sample letters, it has sample complaints, it has videos from Peggy Hall, from America's Frontline Doctors. I do not discriminate, but I tried really hard to only provide what I think is the most succinct and factual and accurate information for everyone to use. So I really would recommend, it's free. You should sign up for news updates. I do a blog and you'll get updates, but that's something that you guys should really pin, because we give you all the tools.
Yeah, and I've looked through what you give freely, and I mean, it's amazing, because that's a big thing for parents, is they feel like they don't know what to say, or they don't know if they're saying something that's accurate, and they're going to look foolish. So then they just don't say anything, and they hope someone else knows more than they do. You provide incredible resources so that parents can be well equipped to fight back. And when you
go ahead.
Oh, no, go ahead. No,
well,
go ahead.
Because, and the reason why I do that, and again, I'm segueing trying to lay the foundation for the advice I'm going to give, because it's not going to be what you guys think, because there are only so many, and in the first live I talked about it, so many attorneys like me, like in personality and whatever, but also in my situation, that being a solo practitioner who's willing to stick her neck out, truly, you know, this isn't to like martyr myself, but honestly, I have attorneys from massive international law firms who send me cases and send me case law and give me advice. and they can't take these cases because they can't put their names or their division, they're the partner, and they can't lose a $22 million client. This is a true story, or whatever. And so my point is, the number of attorneys who are willing to do this work, to step to the government, to step to the governor, to step to the acronyms, is so few and far between. And those attorneys, we are very overloaded. So that's number one. We don't have as many attorneys, right? Everyone wants to say, where can I sign up for the lawsuit?
Yeah.
So that's what I'm trying to explain to you. And that's why I made this website, because with these resources, because there aren't enough attorneys. Even if there are not enough hours in the day. I know people think I'm not responding to them on purpose. Like you said, we're on 3-hour sleep schedule. It's like, it's insane how our time is being used right now to litigate and do the legal things. But also, third point is, this is 100% up to us, because our elected representatives and officials are not representing or doing not only what the science and the medicine and the data says they should be doing, but what the majority is saying. So it's incumbent upon us to take those resources, educate ourselves, share that, educate others, and then link arms to push back. And if they still don't listen, to create alternate parallel schools, churches, businesses, hospitals. That is truly my advice, because we have yelled at the rallies. We have gone for 8. You guys were there for 14 hours.
Yeah.
Done the things. We have gone with the science and copied the reports in the medical journals and given that to them, gotten nurses and doctors to testify about what's going on in the hospitals. They don't care. They are getting paid by the government. This is true. This is not a conspiracy theory. They are getting paid. They are incentivized to get as many people as the shot as possible. This is schools. This is churches. I confirmed last night with a pastor, Tim Thompson. This is hospitals, doctors, medical practices. They get money, tens of thousands of dollars to implement these mandates. So we're really working an uphill battle.
Lawsuits take a lot of time.
And they take a really long time. So 2 of the documents are step-by-step guide for parents how to push back to K through 12 schools. And we tell you, take this letter. I link the letter. I mean, you guys need to do this. We have to do it. And here's the letter. Send that letter. If they don't respond, send this letter. It's not the commoner. There's a commoner law group that does the common law. There's a lot of common law stuff. That's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about modern day civil litigation. I'm talking about empowering yourself to have how to have an educated conversation and stand up for yourself.
So tell me, pretend I am Jane Doe.
Okay.
And I have kids, which I'll be honest, I pulled my kids never went into the system, because I saw what was coming, and I'm a research analyst, and I thought, I don't want an American education for my kids. I want more European style, Charlotte Mason based. So my kids never went in. So I have every reason to not be fighting for kids in school. But I saw a problem headed where, sure, you can pull your kids out and then retreat from the system, but what about all those kids left in? Yep. So I am fighting hard for your kids if you're watching this, because there are families who can't or feel like they don't have that as an option. Yeah. And so I think it would be a shame to just say, you walk away and you don't look back at all the kids still in there. So that's why I am so passionate about the children that my kids are growing up alongside in this corrupt system and everything that's coming down at them. So let's pretend I'm Jane Doe and I have some kids in my local school, and I see what's coming. Up in LA it just passed, up in Oakland it just passed, and now in San Diego they want to pass it on September 28th. In San Diego we have a very limited amount of time to fight back, and I want to cover that real briefly for those of you in San Diego in a minute. But with that being said, let's pretend everything passes. Yeah. Okay, so now mandates that are coming down. The injection is mandated for all of our kids. So my 2 little babies are going to have to get this injection. What can I do if I say, oh my gosh, Nicole, give me practical. What do I do with this letter that's on your website? What do I need to do?
So first, you're going to educate. You're going to let them know that you know. If you guys read the laws that actually apply, and you told them this is illegal because of this code section and this code section, and I have the letter that you give to them, whether it's been passed or it hasn't been passed yet, and you write to them, You don't have authority under California Health and Safety Code to implement this kind of mandate. You don't have authority to. So step number one is inform them of the law and say, we're going to give you until such and such date to revoke. In that case, you're saying it's already been passed, to revoke the mandate. If not, we're going to peacefully protest.
What does that look like? What is
that looks like? Going to the campus with all the parents and all the students and all the siblings, and going and doing kind of what you did down in San Diego, and doing that on the campus to show them how many people are not on board with the mandate. Because remember, even parents who are vaccinated might not be ready to vaccinate their children. And they're gaslighting you to think that you're a minority, but you're not. So when you go to my website, you read it, you spread the letter to as many people to wake them up. Because again, what you said, people don't understand that the law is on our side, that they are completely wrong. They do not have authority. I have been debating whether to say this or not, but we have information that they are being told by California legislators that they've seen the letters. They're pushing back on the legislators and saying, we're going to get sued. And the California legislators are telling them, don't worry, we got your back. We're going to fix it. I really cannot say more than that, because this is a confidential situation that's happening, but they know that we're right. We issued the letters. LAUSD is terrified. They've already communicated to the state legislators, exactly as it's happened before in California. Hey, everyone's waking up and telling us this is illegal. What are we going to do? And they're saying, don't worry, we're going to cover your back. We're going to figure it out. I don't know what that means exactly. We're investigating it, but they know that they're wrong. So if 300 families or 100 families or even 30 families send this letter that I put for free, I wrote it, put for free, and on the website, print it and send it to them and say, we know what's up. Everybody send the letter. Number one, send the letter, tell them.
So get your kids parent, like any parents that are in your kids' classes, start. This is where we're headed. This is grassroots. You're going to need to get your fingernails dirty. I keep telling people this. This isn't about staying pretty and mild-mannered and quiet anymore. We are so past that point. This is about you're going to go in and it's going to be uncomfortable. It's not fun, but you go in and you are going to start taking names and taking numbers. Get your tribe built now.
I mean, I'm not a violent person at all. You need to tell them. You need to sit down and you need to say, here you go, in their face. You got to get off the internet. You got to phone calls are great. We should be calling at the same time. You're going to walk in the letters. And you're going to say, here this is, you're on notice. This is a cease and desist letter that I know that was sent to you. And if you're in San Diego, this was sent to LA. And this was sent to Berkeley. We sent it to Berkeley. And I want to tell you, Berkeley backed down on their mandate. They met on it last night. I gave a dad the letter. He went with the letter. And they just got the email right before, during our break. He told me, I checked my emails, like he's been calling while we were trying to talk, that Berkeley backed down on their thing because they know the laws. They do not have authority to add shots to the K through 12 list. That's California Health and Safety Code 12335 and 12338. The only agency that has the authority to add lists to the K through 12 shots, mandated shot list is California Department of Public Health. California Department of Public Health has not added the shots. Why? Because pursuant to 12335 and 12338, they have to give back the personal beliefs exemptions. They are working us. They created, in my opinion, I think this is one of the most evil, contrived, like next level, just manipulation. I think that they intentionally created this loophole. They're like, well, we're not going to put it on the list because if we put it on the list, we have to give back personal belief exemptions. So you do it. And then the districts are like, well, we don't have authority. And they're like, well, just say it's a mandate. Wait until school starts. Say it's a mandate and that kids are going to get kicked out. In LA, they're going to it's not remote learning. It's not Zoom learning. They send them to another school campus that's like in downtown LA, Skid Row. It's not a safe campus. So the parents are like, I have to not give my kid the shot, but then send them to Skid Row. It's intentional. They did it on purpose. You need to go and that's why it's important you read the literature, because if you read what I wrote and what the law says, you would be livid. You would be at the school every day until you would be so pissed. The law is not on their side at all.
But that's what everyone needs to do is they need to go get that letter in your hands, print it out. Don't have it on your phone. Actually print the thing out. And then do what we said earlier. You need to light it up. you need to put stickers on all the main points, get a highlighter and start highlighting it, and then start networking with other parents. And you would be surprised at how many parents are not okay with this. I know the general thought is like, oh, but other parents are fine. I'm in the you would be shocked when you start opening your mouth at how many parents are so uncomfortable with everything that's going on. So you need to tribe up. Find your tribe now. And then what Nicole is saying is once you have this paper in your hand, then you need to start serving. You need to start giving it to the people who are responsible for making and enforcing these absolute mad, drunk rules on your kids that are not legal and that are so insanely overreaching and wrong that you have every right to stand your ground and say, no. I'm not, and that's why I keep going back to the Ruby Bridges. I know it was a different assault on our civil rights.
History is repeating itself. This is why they're trying to erase history. This is why they're trying to erase the books. Everybody buy history books. Please buy our history books, the old yellow ones that we read in the library before they're gone. This is why they're trying to erase them, because this is textbook. It's textbook psyops, textbook abusive, manipulative, psychological warfare. It's textbook communist manifesto, all of the things. We got to get the history books and not let history repeat itself. You are not silly for making that analogy. This is what needs to happen, except that time we're advocating for that, and this time we're advocating for health freedom and for parental rights. And truly, it's human rights. This has nothing to do with
human rights
or not. It's basic fundamental freedom.
And that's the common denominator, is it is human rights. So once you have this paper, who do we give this letter to? Because I know that a lot of parents are like, okay, great, I have it. Now I've connected with other parents who feel the same. Who do I send it to? My principal?
I did a presentation last night, so I don't have the printed version, but I'm telling you guys, it's on my website. So here it is, step-by-step guide for families pushing back on illegal vaccine mandates in middle and high schools. That's what it's called on my website. It has 7 steps. You send the letter. You send it to your principal, the district. You want to send it to the district, the board again. And I would send it to like whatever, if there's like a board of the school, but definitely the principal. You send it to the district, and it puts them on notice that you know they have no legal authority to be implementing this, okay? At the same time, you send them a letter that I drafted for not me, my team. There's someone on my team drafted for parents. That's different wording. It's not my official, I did an official cease and desist on my legal letterhead, and then parents, they can use that and tailor it to their own words and their own situation. Okay, so it's like a nicer one. So here's the legal authority. This woman is ready to sue. Here's my story. And then you can serve that as well. And then if you're not hearing back, and at the same time, you're spreading this information to the people. And if they're not responding to you, I recommend, you know that I've been seeing it for a really long time, and you do it, going and hosting a rally on this campus and showing the school how many parents are really upset about this. And it's twofold. It's one, to show the school. And number 2, it's to show other families, because you underestimate how many people are actually not okay with this. Again, they have manipulated us to believe we're in the minority, but we're in the majority. And when you stand up, Tim Thompson said last night, courage is courageous. You stand up, 5 other people will stand up. I can't tell you how many, you said it actually, how many people have said to me, I thought I was the only one. So then you do a rally. And if they still don't do it, you're going to have to pull your kids.
Do you know, Nicole, I know we said this in the first, the part 1, but do you know, and I know I'm putting you on the spot with this, okay. I should have asked you before, but here's where I'm coming from.
Okay.
For the last 18 months, I have been a part of all the rallies. I've been doing all the board of supervisors. I have been mobilizing people to do all those. And I think that they have had their place.
Yeah.
I don't know if I feel like that's where this current atmosphere is taking us, to where those tools are still effective. So when you think of like what Chrisanne Hall advocates for, and then even seeing like what happened in the civil rights era, the past, where you had massive civil disobedience and non-compliance. And by civil disobedience, people think that means, you're going to go smash a bunch of windows. That's not what I'm saying. I'm saying you hold your ground and you say, we will behave as free because we are born free and because our Constitution says so. and you are out of line. So I'm not going to comply and I will behave free. Thank you.
I'm going to go to school with my kid. And
right. That's what I'm asking. So in the case of Ruby Bridges, it's slightly different because you have the police escorting her. But what are your thoughts on if this thing passes in San Diego on September 28th? So you've tried the letter, you know, or not tried. You're actually doing it. You get your letter from the website that's pinned below. You have banded up with other parents. You have submitted these like crazy to the principal and the board, and the thing still passes on September 28th. And now you know that your kid has to get shot up, roll up their sleeve, or they don't get to be educated. Mm-hmm. What are your thoughts on massive noncompliance in the sense of, and this could apply for LA and Oakland and other schools, those parents now that you have banded up with, you decide we are going to go do a mass sit-in with our children, and we are going to say we are not leaving. Our child is deserving of this education. We are going to sit in, and we will do this day after day until you retract this insane edict that you voted on against what is right and true. What are your thoughts on that?
I mean, I think that's amazing. I think when we deal with certain school districts, we deal with different families who can afford to do certain things. So I just, I don't think that a rally on a Saturday in Santa Monica to advocate for health freedom, which I've gone to like 3 or 4. I went to downtown LA, you know, I've done all of those, is different than a very narrowly focused rally at your school with families from that school, or even other families as well. I think that's a little bit different. I totally agree with you, but, maybe we can call it something else, but if everybody showed up at school on Monday and didn't let their kids go into school, and all the parents stood outside and did what you guys do, like a speaker, and everybody's telling their story, and the school is looking down at all the hundreds of families and children that are out there, one day for 4 hours or however long it may be, I think that would be very effective in this context. I think we're talking, I totally agree. And then, go ahead.
You're right in that there are different walks of life, and there are different schools and different, everyone has, that's why, you know what, there is no one size fits all.
No.
And my advice too is for those of you who are watching this on Instagram, once this is posted, start connecting with people in the comment section. This is a great starting point to find your tribe. So, hey, I'm in San Diego, I'm up in LA, I'm up in Northern California, I'm in a different state. Start connecting here, and then start building from that base.
Who else has that is America's Frontline Doctors.org /citizen corps, like, CORPS. They have, so I was thinking about building that onto the website, but I'm like, why am I going to reinvent the wheel? But they have Citizen Corps groups, so I would totally recommend that. Sometimes it gets lost in the comments. You know what I'm saying?
I'll put that
comment, but do that as well.
Yeah, I'll link that in my bio. So for any of you after this, you can go head into my bio and you can see that there. I think that is so helpful, though, Nicole, that you have a great letter that parents can use now, whether you're in San Diego where it hasn't passed yet, or if you're up north and it's passing and you're freaking out, then you can take what you've created and actually start to push back with it. I do want to.
So go to the meeting. If it hasn't been passed, print out my cease and desist. It's a legal cease and desist. It was written to the superintendent and the LAUSD school district. Take that, then take your particular parent letter that you can tailor to your own situation, send it to the school beforehand, send it to the superintendent, send it to the district beforehand. Because, LAUSD has like 1,623 schools in that district, so you have one to the district and one to your school. And then, because at the end of the day, the district is the one that's passing this, right? So they need the legal cease and desist. But you can send all the letters, just send all the letters to everyone. Go to the meeting if it hasn't passed. Be ready to share your story, because now is not the time, even though the meetings can be very painful. Now, I don't think at this juncture is the time to be like, not this meeting. I think these meetings are really important. If they still pass it, right away, you look at everybody in the audience who showed up in person. That's why it's so important. Someone's there with a clipboard. Everyone's passing while they're waiting to give their comments, getting the emails and phone numbers. And that next day or the next Monday, we tell them, we're going to give you till Monday. I don't know when the meeting is. Yours is on a Tuesday.
It's next Tuesday.
So we're going to give you till Friday. If let's say they pass it, right? Till Friday to retract it. And then if not, or even sooner than that, if they pass it, just have you have the audience to say, we're not going to school on Wednesday. If they pass this tonight, no one here is showing up to school tomorrow. That's what I would do, because they need to see the numbers, because it's all about funding.
It is all about funding.
There's a couple of different ways to go about it. And if you guys do all of the things, then it would be to sue. I mean, we're signing up LAUSD because we sent the cease and desist.
Yes. So I want you,
they didn't respond.
Tell us that, because then I want you to tell everyone what is happening in LA with the pushback. And then I'm going to tell people what we are prepared to do and doing in San Diego for the pushback, to give people actual practical hope of what's going on behind the scenes.
So we watched the hearing. I watched that whole board hearing, whatever it was, meeting. And then that night wrote the cease and desist and sent it the next day. And we said everything you did was wrong, and gave them Thursday. And I think I gave them till the next day. I think I gave them one day to take it back. They didn't. That was Monday. I mean, ever since the letter was sent out, we've been flooded with calls. So we're signing up people and we're suing the LA Unified School District. The law is on our side. They have no authority to do that. And so in the meantime, though, parents are having to make the decision. I mean, we have it's so many families and so many schools. It's been really overwhelming, but we need to get a complaint on file right away. We will ask for a temporary restraining order right away, which is not to get rid of it, but to at least ask the court for an emergency order, like right away, not in 6 months when the next hearing is available, right away, that orders them to stop implementing the policy until we can get to a trial on the merits of the policy. So it's going to maintain the status quo. So no shots until we can decide whether they have the authority to do that. So we're raising money right now to do that. We're looking for volunteers who even want to help us, but we're really raising money and
so
signing up the parents
if
for that.
Parents want to jump on up in LA with what you're doing, how can they do that?
So they can submit an intake form and put LAUSD parents.
Is that through your website?
Through my website, and they can also donate through the website. Just be sure to put LAUSD, lawsuit contribution, and all of the money will go to that. I haven't been paid ever $1 on anything that I've been doing for the last. I've received donations, but all of it goes back into the firm and pays for the lawsuits and the filings and everything, and then volunteers that I've now hired because they deserve it. So
you're amazing for what you're doing and how you're pushing back there. Down here in San Diego, for those, because I know I'm seeing that question come up a lot, is what's happening in San Diego? So in San Diego on September 28th, they are going to vote on essentially the same thing that just passed in LA, which will mandate this injection on all eligible students. That's on Tuesday. There will be a presence at the, I'll put the name and the address below when I post this, but there will be a presence of people there holding the line and saying no. The vote most likely it's predicted to go through. That being said, there's a lot we can do between now and the 28th. I will be linking Nicole's letter in my bio at Rooted Period Wings so that y'all can grab that and start melting their phone lines and their emails relentlessly. Get everyone you know to send that letter in between now and Tuesday the 28th. On the 28th, plan to show up. Even if you're just going to hold up a sign. Most likely not everyone is going to be able to speak, but you can still call in and your number will be counted as an opposition to this. And that does matter. It goes on record. And then the organization that's really heading up the resistance here in San Diego against all this is called Let Them Breathe. And she has become a friend, Sharon McKeeman. She's been advocating for mask choice. They have been suing in California again and again. They just launched Let Them Choose, and Let Them Choose they've already sent a legal demand letter to SDUSD in advance of this board meeting on September 28th. And this letter, I actually have it. She just sent it over to me and I was looking at it, and it is so powerful. And I'm going to link this as well in my bio so that you guys can see this, because it's not only for the board, it's also for parents to be informed of your rights. The bullet points, I'm just going to go through a couple. SDUSD lacks legal authority to mandate this injection for students. And then paragraph after paragraph as to why. The benefits of the injection do not outweigh the potential harms for all students. And then paragraphs and paragraphs of why. The right to informed consent should not be ignored. An injection mandate discriminates against students who have recovered. It goes on and on and on. And this letter is so powerful. She just sent it to me. So it's fresh on their site, and I'm going to have it linked in my bio and also below. So get all over that, and you can use that as well to start calling the board members, and I will have them all linked, and melt their phone lines. Don't let them get away thinking that they can pass this illegal, lots of words on our children, because they can't. They're drunk on power. They're out of line. And the only way that they get away with it is if we cower in the 100%. Shadows and put on our white gloves and stir some jam and just keep quiet. That's not where we're at now. We need to get our fingernails dirty. We need to be relentless in this, and our kids' future depends on it. So everything will be made so simple for you, because it's going to all be linked up in my bio. And then it's also on Nicole's website. You can, I pinned it below. But this is your time now to step in and to start pushing back. So that's what's going on down here. And then also Let Them Choose will be having a big rally on September 28th at the location where the vote is going to take place. So you are more than welcome to join there. There will be speakers. I will be there. A ton of leaders in San Diego are going to be there. And presence is important because it shows public opposition to this. So circle that like crazy on your calendar. And then between now and then, you start getting your claws out and holding the line. So that is San Diego. Do you have anything else you want to say on that?
Let's come up with a plan. So then you go to the meeting, and let's just say they pass it anyways. If that's where, we've seen them, right? We know the track record for San Diego. So then what are we going to do? Next day, we're not going to go to school. Like, I'm putting you back. Let's brainstorm here. We're going to go, we're going to present the facts. Maybe there's enough of a showing that they're like, whoa, we're going to take a break. We're going to hold on this for a second. I think also you guys I don't know when the funding, I heard, and this is something that should be said, is that the deadline to get funding for public schools was September 8th. The deadline to submit your application, which means that it's based on enrollment. So what they have done, these shots have been available since May. You think they didn't know that they wanted to do this? I really want you, if I don't go down there myself, because I'm really contemplating going down myself, because if San Diego falls, like LA already fell, Oakland fell,
it's everywhere.
From Orange County, and I don't care. I don't even have kids in school, and I'm going to go because they need to know. But I think it's really important to tell them this isn't just a lawsuit about a rule. This is a lawsuit about your fraud and your collusion with the government to really defraud the government to get funding. So they waited. September 8th was the deadline. They submitted their enrollment, and then a week later decided to implement this mandate. They put a price on the heads of your kids.
Hear that. Listen to what Nicole
Put a
is
price
saying.
on the heads of your children. They don't care about your kids.
It's not about your kids.
In LAUSD, they submitted their enrollment forms on September 8th, and then September 8th at night, they declared that they're going to have an emergency meeting about the mandate. I cannot be more clear that they don't care about your kids. They use them for numbers, for percentages, for rankings, for ratings, so that they can get more money.
And here's the deal, you guys. If they're going to play dirty, and if they're going to be so strategic in how they're going to launch their assaults, then we're going to need to get in the headspace of being strategic and getting our hands dirty too. And hands dirty means that you are abiding by your constitutional power, but you are not a weakling. If they're going to play these games, then you are going to have to be prepared to get off the bench and get in the battlefield now. One of my mentors, Heidi St. John, always says that. Get off the bench, get in the battlefield. What are you waiting for? This is it. This is the moment. If you lose this, you guys, this is it. This is the hill.
Can I say something? Because we're talking about hope, and we mentioned it in the first segment, is that, but the worst case scenario is that you've found each other.
Yep.
And then now, if we lose this battle, we've found each other, And there are hundreds of families and hundreds of incredible teachers who don't want to get the shot. And now we have the opportunity to actually associate with like-minded people who have the same values, clearly, because they've been at these rallies, and create new schools.
Yes, with what you just said, I'm actually going to have one of my good friends, Brianna Chittick, is going to be coming on in the next couple weeks. She, because of everything going on, she did exactly what you're saying. The kids are out of the public system, and she banded with a tribe of mamas who were sick of it and saw what was coming. Their kids are all out of the public system, and they hired a teacher who teaches these kids in Back to the Roots, you guys. It's a one-room schoolhouse, and she's teaching all these kids, and it's called the Liberty School, and it's the most incredible concept. And what I think is beautiful about this is, in all the hopelessness and the overwhelming and kind of like this shaking, it's like, we're going right back to our roots. We're going right back. Maybe we should have never gotten to the point where we had indoctrination systems like we have now. So there is hope.
Don't go. Maybe we're like, oh, we didn't like you that much. It's like being with a bad boyfriend. I'm like, I didn't even like you that much anyways. Maybe we just,
you were cute, but
like maybe just no one shows up, and then no one goes back to school, and Monday you start at one family's house or a warehouse. You know, my husband does merch, and he has not a warehouse. We're not gonna put them in a warehouse, but you know, like, and you just like start a new school, and you just like break up with them, and then they don't even know, and then they'll come groveling back, and it's like the whole thing that that happens.
Yeah.
But
well, because at the end of the day, if we all did this, if we all contacted those teachers who don't want to be under these mandates, there are so many teachers who are going to walk. Start finding your good teachers. That's another good idea. Start finding those teachers you love and saying, hey, can I get your number and we can stay connected? Because if this goes the way we think it's going to go, I want to hire you. I want to hire you for 15 kids. What teacher is not going to want that if they are sick of the system? There are so many. I can't tell you how many friends that I have had pull their kids and establish Liberty schools, and their kids are thriving, and the stories I hear are so beautiful. So there is hope in all of this, and maybe all of this shaking, as mad as it all is going to actually bring us back to our roots and what this country was built on in a really profound way. And that's biblical, right? What was meant for evil turned out to be for good. And there's hope in that too. So, Nicole, you are an amazing force. I'm so appreciative. I love you. I feel like you're truly are like a soul sister to me.
Yeah, feel the same.
I'm just so thankful for all you are doing in the good fight, in being not just an attorney slinging out there, but you really care deeply, and the resources that you provide free for so many parents. So again, go to her website. It is a rich treasure trove of resources for all of you. And then her site will be linked in my bio as well. So you can click into that, get the letter, get ready to melt the phone lines here in San Diego up until Tuesday, the 28th, and then get ready to show up on the 28th. Go check out what Let Them Breathe and Let Them Choose is doing here in San Diego. I'll have their link too, so you guys can check those out. But know that in all of this, there is hope. There is hope. There is hope. And we are on the right side of history. And if we stand strong, I truly believe we will see this all won back. I don't think that it's hopeless in the sense of we're never going to find our way home. But I want you to close us out and give us my dog in the background, just any last words of hope and advice. And then we'll let these sweet people go and get their fingernails dirty in the battlefield.
Well, I think you said it all perfectly, actually, to be honest with you. I think that we should shift the focus on trying to cling to what we don't even necessarily want, and to just really, I hope this conversation just showed everybody what's really going on, what rights and values they truly possess as just for the sheer fact of being a human being, regardless of where you're born and in what time you were born, and then look at what they're doing. I hope I kind of lifted the veil a little bit about how egregious and unlawful and unethical and immoral what is they're doing, so that you really evaluate, is this what I really want? Because that's empowering. When you think you're fighting for something, you actually don't even really want that. It's empowering to understand what you really want and then be able to find that with like-minded people through communities such as yours. So I'm so grateful that you had me and that you're building just this really beautiful, again, community. I'm so glad to be a part of it.
I am too. I feel like I mean, it's such a organic thing that has it has a life of its own. So for everybody watching and listening, thank you. Thank you for being here and for listening. Start tribing up. And then head to my bio for all the resources, and then everything will be linked below as well. And then make sure you head over on Instagram, and it's what's your handle? Facts Law.
I didn't really think it through. I was like, the facts plus the law equals truth, and then you get justice. Facts, law, truth, justice.
That makes sense.
Facts,
See, now
law,
I remember.
Truth, justice.
So at Facts, Law, Truth, Justice, make sure you follow her. And I'm sure you'll be back on again. And we'll touch base after the 28th. Well,
if I'm not there, I really want to go.
I know, I would love for you.
At 4, but I'm like, I need to move it. I really want to go. I'm just mad. I'm just mad about everything, as you know. I want to go.
I love you. Thank you. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much for having me. I'm glad you did it.
For everyone who is watching, make sure you head and get all those resources in your hands. And then if you're in San Diego, between now and the 28th, it's on your plate now. You've been served up. So you use these resources, and don't say, I wish I would have. Right now, you can. You can. Hope is on our side. Truth is on our side. Law, facts.
Truth, justice, all of it.
It's all on our side. Okay, you guys have such a great night. And then again, thank you so much. I adore you, and I am thankful for you. Keep slaying dragons. We're going to see this battle won. And then, okay, I'll see you next time. Bye, everybody.
Bye. Thank you, Britt.
Bye.